Hey guys, what's going on? It's Gheesling. Just checking in from the road. I am currently on the road right now. We're traveling for a family wedding, and a couple things happened I just want to share with you and hope that you enjoy or get some value of us sitting here thinking about, okay, hey, look, I know it's not going to be a typical podcast, but what have I taken away these past couple days? Semi-unplugging that I can share with people that dial in every Monday that will give them some value. And two things really kind of came up to me, and both I'd say are maybe a little bit more personal than I would share. But it's when I was thinking about, okay, what did I physically do that could help someone, or maybe a story I could tell that you would take something away from. The first is, I'm the type of person, when I go on a trip or something, it takes me a long time to unwind, meaning that I'm so focused on my day-to-day that it just takes me a while to get out of that routine and not want to work. So the first couple of days, I was I'd probably say half checked in, and there was something extremely, extremely minuscule, but it was important to me. But it was I would say a nagging annoyance, and it was something work related. And it was really kind of just one of those things where I'm the type of person I like to go down a list and just kind of check everything off and get it done and moving forward. And it was just really kind of this sticking point, and it was starting to kind of bother me. And I'm all right, you know what? And I stopped for a second. I'm man, this is really bothering me. And so I took a step back. I'm in the grand scheme of this, is this a big deal? And I'm no, but it's still bothering me. So I took a second to recognize that and be all right, look, I know this isn't a big deal, but it's still bothering me. So let me just put it down and come back to it in a couple hours or when I think of it next, which is not typical for me. And I think especially maybe with the context of not being at work and being at, this destination wedding. So I put it down and came back to it 6 hours later, 7 or whatever. And it just didn't bother me anymore. And I was kind of man, that was, a little bit silly, but maybe a little bit silly to let something an annoyance like that, affect me. So I think that's kind of the big thing I would say right now is if there's something that's maybe picking at you, I say just put it down and come back to it. That's something that really helped me. And then the second thing that also is not something that helped me, but something I took a moment to do after I kind of officially kind of decompressed. And, I would say I was probably as close to being decompressed as possible where, I wasn't focused on work or anything like that. And I'm self-aware of that. And I don't think it's a bad thing or a great thing. It just is. It just takes me a while to get to that point. And so there were a couple moments on this, this destination wedding trip where I was just man, for example, and this is not a hard flex or weird flex, it just is what it is. It's rare that, I go to the ocean or even go on trips, especially now with two little ones, but it took a moment, and I really like the ocean. I was just kind of standing in the ocean, and I just took a second, and I don't want this to seem not morbid or anything like that, but it's just what I did. I took a second to stand in the ocean. I thought about, I have a family member who's pretty sick, and I'm just kind of standing there in the ocean. I'm man, I'm just really trying to appreciate this moment right now, standing in the ocean, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that, I was just thinking family members and people close to me that were man, they would do anything to feel healthy or be able to be in this spot. And so really I just kind of taken a couple moments just to be as grateful and just realize what's going on right now and not worry about what's coming or what happened or what's about to happen. And so I don't know. And it was funny because I've been doing a lot of texting and getting a lot of questions via Twitter that I would say a lot of them are reoccurring, and maybe it's because of the additional exposure or maybe focus on it with Check the Wire, the new podcast with Northern Lion, which, by the way, is now on its own official feed starting this week. So will not be available on this feed anymore. You can just go to checkthewire.com and add it. But so, people always ask, how do you stay so positive? And to me, I don't like preaching on that, because I'd rather just do things and then have people take whatever they want from the action as opposed to saying things. But I've just kind of been doing that and just trying to, so how I stay positive is I don't compare myself to others and just try to be, grateful for where I am right now. And I'm going to end this podcast with, and I'm going to say graphic detail. So maybe this is probably a good time to, and it's not super graphic detail, but just to give you some insight, it's we were playing, what were we playing? We were playing getting over it with Bennett Foddy. And this kind of saying started to pop up in the chat. And AWWA, appreciate where we are. And that meant appreciate where you are in the game, because we were really high up and don't get frustrated and stuff like that. And so to kind of give you some insight, if you're not into, and it's not super graphic details, but you may want to turn it down now, just to give you some context. And I think maybe there could be a small handful of people listening that can say this, but to just give you some insight, I'm just super grateful that, I get to do this. And I guess the graphic detail is I'm recording this podcast 30 minutes after completely vomiting my face off. So if you're not grateful for anything, that's cool. But at least maybe you could say, hey, at least I'm not doing that right now. And I hope that makes your day brighter. With that being said, I hope you guys have a great one. And I will see you guys for the show returning on Tuesday. Also, new podcast tomorrow. Check thewire.com, the next episode. I believe it's episode 3 with Northern Line. And I hope you guys have a great one. Bye.